Michael Chandler is doing interviews in the lead up to his UFC 314 co-main event fight against Paddy Pimblett. And in this interview he did with MMA Fighting, which we're going to take a look at a couple different clips in this video, he absolutely humiliates himself. I know there's not much more humiliating that Michael Chandler could do, but in this interview, wait till you see the timeline he's setting for the Conor McGregor fight. But that's not even the main thing I want to talk about. I don't even want to spoil what he says there. I'm just going to let you guys see it for yourself. But the main thing I want to highlight is him crying about the narrative that he is a dirty fighter, a filthy cheater, which we're also going to expose as completely false. What Chandler says, oh man, I never cheated intentionally, just things just happen, and things just happen in a fight. Luckily I have all the slow-mos of Chandler cheating countless times against Gaethje, against Poirier, against Oliveira, and in a Bellator fight as well that I happen to see somebody post online. So let's just jump right into it. We're going to start off with Chandler talk. I can't believe this. I want to highlight this because I swear everything out of Chandler's mouth is so stupid and so dumb. He is talking about getting a title shot off of a win over Paddy Pimblett. This man's last win is in GFL fighting Dylan Dennis. And the reason I want to highlight this is because not only is it dumb, but then later in the interview when he talks about Arman Sarukyan, he's like, yeah, man, Arman back of the line, man. Meanwhile, he's saying he should get a title shot off beating Paddy. Let's take a listen.
Statement that I'm going to make. Dustin Poirier got a title shot off of beating Benoit Saint Denis, who was ranked number 11.
By the way, Chandler could have got a title shot, which is supposedly his dream, if he would have just took one fight instead of sitting around slurping up Conor McGregor for 3 fucking years.
Islam got a title shot after beating Bobby Green. It's not crazy to think that my name isn't thrown into the hat of the title contention in the lightweight division. Islam's talking about moving up. All of a sudden you lose him, you lose Poirier. Now you just got Oliveira, Chandler, Topuria, Gaethje, Max Holloway.
There's basically everyone you would lose to or already have lost to and took, a victory lap. Oh, I lost to the best guys. This guy is literally saying, look, if everyone leaves the division, I might get a title shot. If everyone leaves, I might get a title shot. Next clip we're going to take a look at is him asked about Conor McGregor. He's still being asked about Conor McGregor, and this is where he kind of copes about, look, I'm moved on. But then later in the interview, he talks about a timeline for fighting Conor McGregor, and he still thinks it's going to happen. Let's listen.
Know what Conor is doing and what he's thinking. You never know if it's a negotiation tactic. You never know if it's smoke and mirrors. All I know is, as you can see by the way I am operating, fighting Charles Oliveira in November and now Paddy in April, I'm getting back to the Michael Chandler of old. I weighed in 6 times, 6 training camps, 5 fights in 26 months, my first 26 months in the UFC.
Look at him coping about, yeah, I was so active. I definitely didn't sit out for 2.5 years waiting for Conor. He's coping there.
I'm a very active guy. I like to stay active. I'm getting back to active, being an active fighter. And if Conor comes back, when Conor comes back, his road back to the UFC goes through me so we can finish the Ultimate Fighter 31. But until he actually does come back, until my phone says Dana White or Hunter Campbell and I pick it up and they say, hey, we're finally booking this fight. Until that happens, I'm going to keep fighting other people. I'm going to stay active, and I'm going to steal the show in whatever arena I am in around the country.
Good. Keep fighting. Conor's never going to fight you. I just find that so funny because there's nothing super unreasonable about what he just said. But I would love to take that 30-second portion of Michael Chandler and pit it against the Michael Chandler from, the first 9 months of last year, 10 months of last year. Man, everyone's criticizing me. I'm waiting for Conor, man. I want the red panty night, man. Meanwhile, Conor is drunk and snorting coke and raping up a storm every which way, every time you catch him out in public. And everyone's like, Chandler, move on. You're in your late 30s. Chandler, move on. You're in your late 30s. Chandler, move on. And now he's like, man, until Hunter and Dana call me up, I'm going to keep fighting, which you should. But then, literally, right afterwards, he's asked, would you call Conor McGregor out if you win? Oh my, if he calls Conor out, if he loses against Paddy and then calls Conor out, he shouldn't even be getting a post-fight interview. But listen to his answer here.
So when you say you get names, you're going to cut a promo, is Conor going to be one of those names?
He probably shouldn't be, but we'll see.
He probably shouldn't be, but we'll see. Mike Heck can't even help but laugh in his face. He's not laughing with you, Chandler. He's laughing at you. I got one dude on my mind. Dude's at WWE begging for a Conor fight.
We'll see. You got to have the tape. You got to have the tape and the mic moments to be able to stitch them all together to build a fight later on down the line. So all the naysayers can be even more mad at me if the fight actually does happen.
Get off McGregor's dick, bro. This shit is so... I can't believe how bad this has gotten. I'm just... You know what? It feels so good to be part of the popular opinion for a change. This used to be... I was in the 1% going against the 99%. Now I'm in the 99.9% saying McGregor will never fight Chandler. The 0.1 being Chandler and maybe some of his friends and family. Okay? This dude's like, yeah, man, I'm going to call him out. The naysayer's going to be really mad. Get off his dick, bro.
With that being said, man, no, I mean, I think there's some more realistic, more immediate fights that could come to fruition when it comes to Holloway, a rematch with Gaethje, Topuria, some of these.
I'm glad you finally woken up. But in a second, he sets a timeline for a McGregor fight.
Big fights that are probably a lot more realistic, later this summer, fall, winter. Conor may not come back till January 26th. Who knows?
I did a video in like late 2023, early 2024, and I said, McGregor 2026 was in the thumbnail. And now he's talking about, yeah, man, McGregor might not come back till January 2026. He sold the fans wolf tickets over and over and over again. He lied to the fans over and over and over again. He criticized the fans for saying the fight would never happen. He sent me a message gloating on Instagram. Yeah, man, buddy, keep your opinions to yourself about me and my illustrious career, man. We both know I made the right call. And now he's talking about fighting McGregor in 2026.
Or at some point in 26. So we'll see.
If you've been watching the channel for a while, you know why this is so funny. But if you just started watching, you may be like, why does he find this so funny? This is just so funny to me.
A lot more realistic, later this summer, fall, winter. Conor may not come back till January 26th. Who knows? Or at some point in 26. So we'll see.
Or at some... This man left his family in early January 2024 for a mythical fight at a mythical weight class against a literal alcoholic cokehead who was out raping up a storm while his wife is home 9 months pregnant. And this dude's still hoping. Maybe in 2026. This guy's going to be 70 years old talking about a McGregor fight. I mean, I would literally say, look, Conor is scared of me. Conor doesn't want to fight me. I don't think the fight's ever going to happen. He's an alcoholic cokehead. And just move on with it. Stop teasing it as maybe in 2026. I mean, it's just humiliating. And then before we get to the cheating, the last clip I want to look at before we get to that is him throwing shade at Arman Sarukyan. I mean, this is just humiliating considering dude's talking about getting a title shot off beating Paddy Pimblett.
You do with Hooker, not sure what you do with Arman. I think Arman's kind of at the bottom of the list, even though he's ranked the highest. You pull out of a fight 24 hours before because of some back pain. That's a little tough. You got to be reliable. The UFC is running $1 billion business, and they don't need you at any given moment. They can replace you at any given moment. So Arman's going to need to come back and get a win.
This dude, we haven't even got to the cheating yet. The audacity of this dude. Yeah, Arman's at the bottom of the list. Go get a win. It's a level of delusion that I can't even put in the word. Yeah, Arman's at the back of the list. Man, you pulled out with back pain, bro. Arman is coming off a win against the guy who literally just dominated you for 5 rounds. And you're talking about Arman needs to go get a win. And then he's like, man, the UFC's not going to need you. The UFC doesn't need you. The UFC needs a reliable guy. They're $1 billion. This guy, I'm telling you right now, he may be in the UFC. He may be an MMA fighter. Anywhere in the world, if he had to work a normal job, I'm telling you right now, I could smell it on Chandler. This dude's a work snitch. You're 5 minutes late to work, he's snitching on you to the boss. You take a little bit longer of a lunch than you're supposed to, he's snitching to the boss 100%. He will sniff anybody's asshole if he thinks it'll get him some type of advantage, which, to be honest, sucking off the UFC in this capacity has gotten him Dana White privilege thus far. But let's carry on. A little bit more here.
I think I go out there and make a statement against Paddy. I continue to throw my name into that mix. I think
this dude will be on a 20-fight losing streak still talking about getting a title shot. Now let's look at the cheating, because this is the part that really pissed me off. Really pissed me off is him asked about being a habitual cheater, a filthy, dirty fighter, okay? And his reaction to this really pissed me off. And luckily, I happen to have all the receipts. So let's listen.
You've been hearing it since the fight with Dustin Poirier. You brought it up. People saying that you bend the rules in fights, that you cheat a little bit in there. And Paddy was...
By the way, I don't know if this was internet connection or Mike Heck borrowed Brett Okamoto's camera. Quality on this was not great. I don't know if this is a Zoom call or what. I mean, this is like 480p, but this was a decent interview by Mike Heck. I will link the full interview down in the description if you care to go check it out. It's 22 minutes long. If you want to go check out the full interview, I will link it down below. But let's listen.
He was asked about it during the London Q&A, and he did an interview with the great John Anik, and he was asked about comments that Dustin made, and Paddy blames the referee for not doing his job, also saying that if you try any kind of fish hook-like move, he's going to try to bite your fingers off, all this stuff. How do you react to those comments, and also just this notion that, hey, that Michael Chandler guy, he cheats in his fights?
He is a cheater. He is a cheater. It's not, oh yeah, he cheats in his fights. No, he is a cheater. That's an undisputable fact.
Yeah, I mean, the narrative is tough, man. People don't really know me. Like, unless you're in my inner circle, you don't know who I truly am.
I don't need to know. This guy, I swear, this guy is so annoying. Man, the narrative is tough. It's not a narrative. It's facts. I mean, this is nonfiction. I don't get it. It's not a narrative. People really don't know me. I don't need to know you to watch in 4K you fish hooking, back of the head shots, eye pokes, every possible way to cheat to get an advantage under the sun multiple times over and over and over again over the course of years, which we're going to look at in a second. But yeah, these guys really don't know me.
Outside of in front of the camera, people have their sneaky suspicions that I'm some, I play nice in front of the camera and I'm a bad guy behind the camera. You're always going to have those accusations, right? But I know
they're not they're not accusations. Don't be surprised if he oil checks Paddy Pimblett on Saturday night at UFC 314 and then smells his finger afterwards. Don't be surprised.
I know who I am, and I know who I am at my core. I'm a guy who tries to do things right, tries to treat people right, do things with honor and respect.
Just remember all that, Mr. Honor and Respect, okay? I'm definitely not going to have minutes upon minutes upon minutes of him cheating that we're going to look at in slow-mo in a second.
Cheating narrative is a little tough for me, but also it's all part of the court of public opinion, man. Did I grab Dustin Poirier's mouthpiece? Yes, I did, because I thought it was his chin. I've already addressed that one. Things happen in a fight. Are you going to reach over and grab the cage? Are you going to, get your fingers in the glove? Yeah, those things are going to happen in a fight. In the last fight, Charles Oliveira dug his chin so deep into my eye socket that I thought I was going to go blind, which is illegal. It's an eye gouge, right?
This dude is complaining about Charles Oliveira cheating when he cheated so egregiously in the Charles Oliveira fight, which we're going to take a look at.
He was grabbing my gloves when he was trying to choke me. Like there was these things happen when you're inside of the cage. I would never say that Charles Oliveira is a cheater.
You just did. You just did. Mr. Honor and Respect, here he is calling Charles Oliveira a cheater. Luckily, I happen to have all the receipts here. And I don't know if we're going to sit through all of it. But let's check out some of the fouls from the Charles Oliveira fight. Watch this. So we have right here, watch down here, look. First, this is an eye poke. Okay? That may not seem like much, okay, but there's an eye poke. Here's him getting taken down in round one. This is him grabbing the outside of the cage to try to avoid getting taken down. Watch this. Look at this. Right here. This is a foul as well. Foul as well. Okay? Gets taken down anyway. Here he is grabbing inside the gloves. You'll see him grab inside the gloves intentionally. Look, literally has his fingers inside the gloves there. There's so much. Look, clearly inside the gloves. That's why this was a whole stalemate, because he was glove grabbing the entire time. Look, you could see his fingers were in the glove there. Here he is grabbing the fence in the Charles Oliveira fight. I mean, this is a 3 minute and 6 second video. There's no way I can go through all of it, but I'm going to get to the most egregious part here in a second. Grabbing the fence there to move. Keith Peterson yelling at him there. There's back of the head shots. Back of the head shot. That one's not. Back of the head shot there. I'm pausing it because I don't want to get copyright here by the UFC. I think he does another back of the head shot here. That one's clean. These you can't really tell, but the angle of them look like they're pretty bad. And then I think you see, look, I mean, I'm assuming that's all the other ones too. So there you have him cheating back of the head early in the fight. This is first round again. This is first round. And then I just want to go to the almost finishing sequence. We're going to skip ahead to the finishing sequence. This is after Chandler supposedly rocked Oliveira. But I'm going to go to a different video real quick, because this is where Chandler supposedly rocked Oliveira. He hit him with a good shot, but he also eye poked him right afterwards. Watch this. A lot of people don't know this. This is the 5th round right here. Look. Clips him with the big shot on the chin, and then watch him eye gouge him. You'll see it like right about here. Watch. Look at that. And then watch Oliveira grab his eye. One of those fingers went in his eye, and then Chandler immediately went after him. So that's when he rocked him, okay? That's when he supposedly rocked him. Now, here's the sequence after he supposedly rocked him, which was really an eye gouge, plus getting clipped with a good shot. This is afterwards. Watch this, guys. Look at this. Back of the head. Back of the head. Maybe partially clean. Back of the head. Watch the forearm, not just the fist. Back of the head. Back of the head. That one's clean. And there's more. That one's clean. That one's clean. But watch the forearm, back of the head. I'm assuming that's back of the head, but it's hard to tell. Back of the head. Back of the head. That's an elbow to the back of the head. Full elbow there. There's more. Back of the head. Back of the head. Watch the forearm. Back of the head. Back of the head. Back of the head. I mean, back. How many times do I got to say it? Back of the head. You guys see it for yourself. And I think there's a couple more here in a second. Let me see. Nah, it doesn't matter. Either way, he grabs the gloves after that. So there's him mercilessly cheating against Charles Oliveira. And also, again, I showed you him following up after an eye poke, which he also happens to do after a Gaethje fight. But we'll get to the Gaethje stuff in a second. So let's listen to Chandler some more.
His body is reacting and doing things without his brain's permission. All right. You're in fight or flight. Things happen. So it's a tough narrative. With that being said, I also respect Paddy for not making a big deal out of it. I mean, I think it's a sign of weakness when you start talking about a guy cheating.
This guy talking about weakness. He groveled at Conor McGregor for years. Groveled, begged, embarrassed and humiliated himself and ruined his own career. And he's talking about being weak.
The most interesting one to me was Justin Gaethje. You know, like Justin Gaethje's a savage and like calling me a cheater. I'm like, dude, you know, come on, man. Like it's a little bit of a sign of weakness. But
so he's calling Gaethje weak. By the way, he's referencing what Gaethje said here.
You know, I think it's blatant fouls. You know, like hitting a lot of the Michael Chandler shit. Pretty much everything he does, immediate point taken away. You know, smoking people in the back of the head. There's things that you can do on purpose.
There you go. Talking about Chandler there. And I happen to pull this. There's probably more than just this, but I didn't want to make this video too long. He pokes Gaethje in the eye and then tries to go for the kill here. Watch this. So there's the combination, right? I got to put this slow. I don't want to get copyright struck here by the UFC, right? Gaethje grabs his eye, and then watch Chandler look for the finish. Look at that. And then clobbers him with a right hand, right? Referee jumps in. Gaethje's pissed off, right? It may not look like an eye poke, but then when you see the slow-mo here, watch off here, you'll see him get slapped with a left hand to the eye. Not that one, right? There's the right hand right there, and then watch this next left that comes up. Look at that. Poked him right in the eye. Gaethje reacts to it, and then he follows up with that big right hand. So Gaethje had every right to call him a cheater, and now Chandler is calling him weak because Gaethje calls him out. Let's continue. There's a little bit more.
Either way, things happen in there. The fans aren't gonna like everything that you do. Fans aren't gonna like you 90% of the time anyway. So it doesn't really matter. So we'll just leave it at that. I am doing exactly what I feel necessary in the fight. The referee, if they tell me to stop, I'm going to stop. There's a lot of things that you do inside the octagon that you're doing, you don't even really realize you're doing, and it's the ref's job to tell you. So
I'm basically a cheater, and the ref didn't stop me. Well, what about this? What about this? Okay, because this is some of the most egregious cheating I've ever seen, and Poirier's called him out about this as well. Check this out. I mean, this is nasty. First off, he blows his bloody nose into Dustin Poirier's mouth. Watch this. Look at this. He does this intentionally. Look at this. Watch. You're telling me he doesn't realize he did this? He blew it right in Dustin's mouth. On purpose there. On purpose there. Then you tell me, first off, the referee not only tells him to stop here, it's not in frame, but also grabs his hand from back of the head shots here. Watch this. You tell me, does he not know these are back of the head shots? Look at this. Look, the referee's grabbing his hand. And watch, does he go right back to it or what? Right back to back of the headshots. And then Poirier gets pissed here. Watch this. Look at this. Chandler's like, I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Poirier's pissed. That's why Poirier doesn't like Chandler. He's fake and he's a cheater. Then, that's not all we have. Here's where he talked about it earlier. Oh, I thought I was grabbing his chin. You tell me if he thinks he's grabbing his chin here. Look at him looking down. He's looking down to where his fingers. This dude's a liar. Massive liar. And look at him trying to fish hook, and does ultimately fish hook Poirier. Look, here's his elbow here, trying to get it underneath the chin. Watch. Clearly sticks his fingers in his mouth, man. In his mouth. Look at this. To try to get the rear naked is so dirty. Look at this. Tries to pull it up. And look, that's his chin, but he's trying to get his arm underneath of it. Look at this. Look at this. Egregious as hell. In Poirier's mouth. In Poirier's mouth. So this guy is a horrible cheater. And he's like, man, the narrative, man. Like it's some fake narrative. Man, how dare. People don't know me, bro. They don't know me in real life. And to call Gaethje weak for calling you out for being a blatant cheater. I understand sometimes in the heat of the moment things happen. But to act like all this. And okay, let's add the cherry on the top. I almost forgot about this. Somebody posted this the other day. Check this out. This was him in Bellator. Look at this egregious fence grab here. Watch this. Watch this right here. That's Chandler back in the day. Look at that. Uses that to get up and get out of a leg lock. Look at that. I mean, look how it grew. Watch this fence grab here. Watch this fence grab. I mean, that's one of the worst fence grabs I've ever seen in my entire life. That is one of the worst fence grabs I have ever seen in my entire life. And I think this, if I'm not mistaken, I think this is Marcin Held, who was known for being a leg lock specialist. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong on that one. So the guy's a filthy cheater. He's coping about, man, this narrative people are setting up against me, man. All the fans hate me. Go grovel at Conor McGregor some more. Go talk about fighting him in 2026 and 2027. You're an embarrassment to yourself and your family. And I personally think he'll probably cheat against Paddy Pimblett as well. Mark my words. Mark my words, he will cheat against Paddy Pimblett. Whether it's a thumb in the eye, thumb up the ass, whatever it may be, a fence grab, an eye poke, back of the head shots. The guy is a habitual cheater. He is a dirty fighter, and nothing that he can say can change that. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video, and thank you so much for watching.